Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing with some product from Altenew. This is the newly released Craft A Flower California Giants. This is a huge flower to make gorgeous cards. I went ahead and pre-picked out some colors for my cards today. So I'm going to have 2 shades of pink, 2 shades of yellow, and 3 shades of green. Using these Craft A Flower dies, it's really simple to make layered cards. So I went ahead off camera and die cut out some of my pieces. So the flower is going to have 2 big layers, 2 small layers. The leaves are going to have 3 layers each. So I cut out a few of them because I want to have 2 flowers. So what I like to do first is to set my images down or my die cuts down the way I see them on the packaging. This makes it a little bit easier for me to figure out how to layer them. Now, what's so gorgeous about this image is it comes to life very quickly. And I also realized that you don't have to be spot on with this die in order for it to create something gorgeous. I went ahead and I laid out all of my pieces, and I'm going to just lay the inner parts of the flower. So again, that's 2 shades of yellow. You really can't see that much of a difference on camera, but in real life, there's 2 separate shades. So now all I'm going to do is start building this up. Remember, having that guide off to the side helps you line up your dies. So just make sure if you get a little bit lost on this, just refer back to the packaging. Now, I like to use a wet medium when I'm putting my Craft A Flowers together. Now, you could also use a double-sided tape from Altenew as well. That way, when you die cut it, it already has the stickiness on the back of the pieces. The reason I didn't choose to do that with this die in particular is because there's a lot of fine pieces to this. It's a very intricate die. And I wasn't sure that I would not get like over residue if I did the double-sided adhesive. I will probably try that next time. But as soon as I die cut these out, I was just like, I probably want to have a little bit of a wiggle room when I go to lay down these top layers. Now, again, refer to the packaging on how to line up your Craft A Flower dies. However, this one is really easy. I can pinpoint some of the little spiky parts on the top layer where I can see how it lays on the bottom layer. So I'm just going to go ahead and push that down, and then using that wet medium, it allows me to kind of shift that into place. Again, with this flower, it's okay if you're a little bit off. So I went ahead and I did my 2 flowers. Now I'm going to come in and do my leaves. Now, as you can see here, there's 3 layers to this. You're going to have your base layer, which is going to be my lightest of my greens. My second layer is going to be my medium tone green. And then my third layer is going to be the darkest of the greens. I like this color combination. You can also do it in greens that have more of a blue undertone. Totally up to you. You could actually probably turn these leaves into like fall leaves and do them in shades of brown. I think that would be absolutely gorgeous. But since we're still into a summertime vibe, we're going to keep those green. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to show you how I did the center of the flowers. Again, there are 2 colors here. One's a little bit lighter, one's a little bit darker. I don't have much contrast between these 2 because I really don't want this to be the center point or the focal point of my flower. I really want my flower to pop. So I'll go ahead and put that next one down. As you can see, they come together really, really easy. If you ever find that you don't know how you really want to lay anything out, always go over to the Altenew website, look under the item that you're looking at, and there's also always going to be inspirational photos. So if you're kind of stuck and your mojo's not working, always refer back to the website. Now, since I have all of my pieces completed in all the layering aspect, I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I want my design to be. So I know I'm going to make a standard A2 card, and I want these flowers to fill up most of that card. I don't want to have a lot going on with this card. I just want it to be really clean and simple. So the flowers are going to end up being the star on this show. So once I have that down, I'm going to go in now and start placing my stems. Now you could put a piece of cardstock down so you can measure it out. But right now I'm just trying to get the concept of how I want these two flowers to lay. Again, they're very big flowers, so I know I'm going to have to tuck one underneath the other. And I might have to cut off some of them. Now, if I was making a larger card, I would probably keep all the flowers. So I think that's kind of how I want my arrangement. Now I'm going to come in with my cardstock and I'm actually going to lay this out. So anytime I'm doing anything with these craft flowers, I like to make sure that I kind of have an ideal of where I want things to go before I actually place it on the card. Because to me, once you place it on the card, you've limited yourself to have some of that wiggle room in order to complete the design that you want. So remember, I just did this a couple minutes ago. So now I know kind of where I want everything to go. And as you can tell, this is going to take up the majority of my card, which this would be my constant focal point on the card. Now, since I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and grab me some press and seal. And I'm going to apply that right over the flowers and push down. This is going to kind of lock that design into that press and seal. So all I have to do after this is just add my adhesive. So this is the one great thing about having a kitchen supply in your craft room. Otherwise, you could probably tape it and then grab your tape and tape over a couple of the pieces. But having that press and seal is so handy. So now all I have to do is lift up some of the pieces that I know I need to have adhesive on at this moment. And then the rest of them, once it's on the card, I can adhere those down. But I'm going to glue my flowers to my stems right now and my stems to my flowers. Now all I need to do is add adhesive on the back of those flowers. And I can also add it on the leaves at this point. Because remember, this is not going anywhere because we have it in the press and seal. So once I get all of my adhesive on there, it's super easy now to flip this over onto my card panel. So I'll move that out the way. I'll bring back in my card panel. I'll line it up on my grid. And now all I have to do is place down that press and seal exactly where I want my flowers to be. So I kind of hover over it a little bit, figure out where I want it, and then I can press down. Now the adhesive is on the back of this, so we already know that this is going to stick, right? So I already have the same look that I had on my grid mat is now on my card. All I need to do is gently pull back that press and seal. And now the design of my card is complete. All I have to do at this point is just add a little bit of glue underneath where the two flowers meet up. So now I can go ahead and press that down. And now I have a stunning card. Remember, there's no stamping on this card. It's super easy to put together. So now I'm going to grab out the hello. Now there's two layers to this. There's a bottom layer, which is considered like your shadow layer, and then your top layer. I'm only going to use the top layer. I don't want anything to distract. So using just that top layer, I cut it out in the brighter of the pinks, and then I can place that down right into the corner of my design. Remember, I had pre-planned this design out, so I knew I was leaving myself a little bit of room for a sentiment. At this point, you could really leave the card just the way it is until you figured out what kind of sentiment you wanted on there. You could stamp a sentiment. But what's so good with the Craft A Flower kits, the layering dies, is some of them do include a die cut sentiment. So again, there is no stamping on this card. And look how easy it was to come together. So I can go ahead and press down that hello right in the corner, tucked underneath that leaf. And now all I need to do is grab my scissors and trim off the excess flower. Again, if I made a bigger card, I would not necessarily need to do this, and I could preserve all the flowers. But the flowers are so big and they fill up the space beautifully that I really don't need to worry about not having the whole flower on my card. Next, all I need to do is bring in a card panel. Now, I really did not want to trim this panel down too much. I wanted it to be the full size of the card panel. So this is a top folding A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm using the top fold of that. And then I compress that down. And look how gorgeous and simple this card is. I didn't really have to do much to this. Now, I do want to add a little bit of shimmer. I don't really want to add pearls or sequins to this. Again, I want my focal point to really just be on the flower. So I'm just coming in with a shimmer pen and lightly going over parts of the dies. Now, I'm not doing the whole thing because I don't want it to be over glittered or over shimmered. I just want it in certain areas. So when I tilt my card, you get a little bit of the reflection of the shimmer, but it's not overbearing. It's like a soft little shimmer. And it's perfect to do with these kinds of pens. This one is from scrapbook.com. And I love it because it has a thin brush point and I can kind of get into where I want it without going necessarily overboard with it. So as you can see, I'm just doing very light strokes just to get some of that in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my sentiment. I'm going to add a little bit more of that shimmer just on the sentiment, but I'm still having a light hand when I do it. Again, very simple to do. And now I have a beautiful card. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. I would love to hear how you would use these dies. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and all products are listed below. Have a great day. Bye-bye.